Hello and welcome to Who Watches Who, a Doctor Who podcast with me, Matthew, and as always,
Hello, I'm Scott.
I'm joined by Scott.
Yes.
It is the end of the month, and the end of the month means it is our news roundup where we look at the Doctor Who news for the month, or shall we say the lack of Doctor Who news for the month for this month, because it has been a quiet month in the land of Doctor Who.
Yeah, it really has been. Like, Big Finish are the only news out there. It's sad.
Yeah, and they only appeal to like 60 people. So,
Yeah.
and we're 50 of them. We have a lot of accounts. But shall we just jump into the news?
Hell yeah. Do you want to start?
Yeah, okay. So, Rose is back. Gasp! It's like Eccleston, and much like Eccleston, she's coming back in audio dramas. This October, the multi-award-winning Billie Piper, as it's written here, very fancy, returns to the world of Doctor Who as Rose Tyler in the first of two brand new box sets in full-cast audio adventure, The Dimension Canon. It's going to be set after the television story Doomsday, which is that where she leaves, or is that the end? Yeah,
That's where she leaves, yeah.
Yeah, that's where she leaves. So, set after the events of Doomsday, the spin-off drama series follows the exploits of Rose, her family, her friends and her family, trapped in another dimension on a parallel Earth. So it's just going to be her making out with David Tennant for some time.
Well, we haven't gone into our part yet in the universe.
I'm sure they will get there. With her world doomed and a universe at stake, Rose must continue her frantic search for the only person who can help, the Doctor. Joining Billie Piper in this cast of Rose Tyler in the Dimension Canon is co-star Camille Coduri, who's reprising her role as Rose's mum. Oh, that's nice. I didn't know she was still doing acting. I haven't seen her in anything since Doctor Who.
Neither have I. I didn't see her. To be fair, I didn't see her in anything before Doctor Who either.
Yeah. As Rose's mum, Jackie Tyler, and Mark Benton as Clive Finch. And you've highlighted Clive Finch. Why?
Oh yeah, just googling to make sure it was the correct person. It's a guy from Rose, the first episode of a new series. We got the Conspiracy Knot, who's researching the Doctor.
So I'm guessing he's not dead in this parallel universe.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Nice. Well, we were chatting before that we wanted to see more of Clive when we covered Rose on the podcast. Go back and listen to that episode. It's a very old one. This is one of the earliest episodes we did, isn't it?
It's pretty much our third episode, I think.
I mean, we could check, but I'm not going to. Both volumes of Rose Tyler, The Dimension Canon, are available for pre-order as a collector's edition box set on CD and download for just £20 per volume, so that's going to be £40 each, or digital download for just $16.99 per volume, so it's still expensive. Big Finish don't do cheap, but they do quality, so you've got that, and they play to a niche audience, so they kind of can charge whatever the hell they like. But I don't think it's their most outrageously priced box sets that they've done.
No, definitely not. Some early 8th Doctor box sets are going for like £64 at the moment. They just keep increasing the price. It's insane.
Yeah. Billie Piper said, "The Dimension Canon is such a brilliant idea and gives Rose a lot more life beyond the Doctor, but there's also something quite sad about her search. It's a real bittersweet series of tales. I'm delighted for the fans to receive these new adventures. It's something they talk to me about just as much as the episodes I appeared in on TV. It seems like there's an enormous appetite for it, and it's very moving to imagine listeners spending a few more moments with this family particularly." Which is some nice wee words. I really doubt there's a lot of people that go up and say, "I love you in Big Finish. That's how I know you, Rose." It's Big Finish.
Yeah, it's really bizarre, that sentiment. Just, I can't imagine that many people listening to Big Finish. It's like, I imagine most of the time she's like getting questions about, "Oh, did you really marry David Tennant?"
Yeah, but hey, you know, more Big Finish is always good. It adds to the enormous pile that's unbreakable to know anywhere where to start with it.
But you know, this one's an easy jumping on point because there's only one previous box set for this, so it's easy. I'll probably order that sometime before October and just listen to that. It's very easy. It's also a good time to bring this series back because the last one came out in 2019, so almost 3 years ago. So now that they're bringing it back is a good time because, you know, everything's about multi-dimensional space travel and all that at the moment, like
It is
Spider-Man,
indeed. Yeah.
and yeah, it's a great opportunity.
My
And
camera's
also,
freaking out.
yeah, I noticed. Yes,
Yeah.
she's done the box set with David Tennant as well in the Big Finish universe, and I'm thinking maybe she'll be back to do a Ninth Doctor audio drama box
That would
set.
that would be really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Her and Eccleston back. Hoo. That'd be a lot of fun.
And also, there's probably no mention of Mickey ever again in this universe, which is a great thing.
I think you can mention Mickey and get somebody else to do the voice, and just don't give money to alleged abuser. What's his name? Although he's got a documentary coming out on like Channel 4 or something. I'm going to watch that.
Don't ever mind.
Sure, that's going to be a train wreck.
Yeah, I'll watch that just because it'll be an absolute train wreck. Yeah,
can't wait.
It's going to be a nightmare to watch. And we're going to hate ourselves for watching it in the first place.
Or what if it's like world changing?
Probably not.
Yeah, but like it might be. That'd be mental.
As long as John Barrowman doesn't do a documentary, because he's just been on the news, been on like this morning again, just being interviewed, and just like, shut the fuck up, man. just apologize and move on. You know what I'm saying? Your face is going mental.
My face, not John Barrowman's face, for people that listen to the audio. And yeah, the like screen, the filter behind to block out my background is just having a bad day. So we'll just ignore it. I'm part of this sci-fi landscape. It's just what I look like now.
Should we move on to our next story?
Indeed, a Rooney jabroni.
So our second Doctor Who news story is Colin Baker is the Doctor of War. Do I have it right? What if the fourth Doctor had answered this question on Scarrow and destroyed the Daleks once and for all? Find out in the new series of full cast audio dramas beginning with Doctor of War Genesis, due for release in April 2022. By Big Finish Productions, so right around the corner, which is a great thing. I'm glad we don't have to wait 2 years for this thing. Colin Baker stars as an unexpected incarnation of the War Doctor, the Warrior, as he encounters familiar faces from his past and future. Romana, played by Rebecca Knight, which is a new actress to the Romana character. The Master, Jeffrey Beavers. I think he's been the Master before Big Finish, but this will be my first time hearing of him, and his companion Perry, who is still played by Nicola Bryant. This newly battle-ready Time Lord faces new challenges never seen before. Times have changed, a choice was made and the universe diverged, and now all of history is at war. One man stands in the centre of it all, but whose side is he on? Is he with the angels or the demons? And does anyone even know which is which? He was a doctor once, but now he is a doctor no more. He is a warrior, the Doctor of War. So this is 2 box sets. The first box set will be released in April, and the second box set will be out in September, which is nice space in between the two of them.
This is a story to me that screams, we're not canon.
Yeah, 100%. This is part of their Unbound franchise,
Right,
which was...
okay.
I think a franchise of stories that were released in like 2003 or whatever, they just kind of dropped it. But I imagine because of the whole multiverse thing being popular and Marvel doing their What If show, they're like,
It's like
perfect opportunity to bring it back.
Yeah. What a wild west the land of Big Finish is. You can find any type of Doctor Who audio drama that they've done. But it sounds interesting enough. I would say Colin Baker was probably a war doctor before this. You know, he loves his guns. He loves his violence. Not as much as Peter Davison, but they're the two of them side by side, fire and pistols. Yeah.
But yeah, the idea of this story being based on Genesis of the Daleks, what if the Doctor made the wrong decision that day, is something that's interesting. And I would be thinking,
is it interesting, or have we seen it already? in the past 2 series with Jodie. You know?
Except this sounds like it's actually going to deal with the consequences of the Doctor making the wrong decision rather than being like the Doctor standing there being like,
I'm sorry, but what was the New Year special about? That was the Daleks being like, "Yo, you committed genocide," and the Doctor was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'll do it again." So,
yeah, she certainly learned her lesson there.
So,
yeah. But yeah, I think I was wondering why this wasn't associated with Tom Baker's Doctor, because this is, of course, the decision made by Tom Baker's Doctor. And I think I came to the conclusion that...
you didn't want to do it.
Maybe, but I think Colin Baker is actually perfect for this darker incarnation of the Doctor. Like, his Doctor was all about being dark and edgy. Like, his first episode was him... suffering really bad side effects from his regeneration and just strangling his companion Perry. And, like, his whole character is shrouded in darkness, even though his outfit is just like the most colourful thing ever.
Yeah. He's a Doctor as well that, from what I understand, didn't get a fair shake with a lot of the scripts. There was, I think it's one of his last stories. He has this speech, and it's just impeccable. I remember seeing a clip of it on YouTube once.
Not just even unfairly treated by the scripts, he got fired from the fucking show because apparently viewers weren't happy with how dark his Doctor was or something like that, and we decided to just bring in Sylvester McCoy as a lighter toned Doctor. I'm not exactly sure what the full story is there, but he got fired, which is really depressing. I'm glad he's got some kind of like
he's still loved in the show now.
Yeah, he's still loved, and that's largely because of Big Finish, presumably giving him good scripts. I haven't listened to any of his stories in Big Finish, but I'll probably jump on to the storyline and listen to it. It sounds great.
On the inevitable day, which maybe it'll be tonight, depending on when I finish editing this podcast, that I can break through the block I'm on with Classic Who. I look forward to watching his episodes, because he does intrigue me as a Doctor. Yeah. Because he was also the Doctor that fixed the chameleon circuit, wasn't he?
Oh yeah, we'll be covering an episode where he actually... Well, there's one episode where it's kind of fixed, but then it kind of reverts back to its usual self. But yeah, as a piano at one point, we'll be covering that episode Attack of the Cybermen soon this year.
I look forward to that. Yeah. In other news, Russell T Davies talks about his new era. When he was speaking with the Radio Times, Russell said, "The truth of it is, everybody lies when they leave Doctor Who and say, 'Oh, I've moved on. I've been thinking about it since I was 3, so there's no way you could stop me thinking about it.' There are things coming up that are brand new ways of telling stories that have never been done before, so it just feels new. I wouldn't have gone back if it wasn't feeling new. I'm sitting here now, 10 pages away from the climax, thinking, God, I've never been in this territory before. This is strange and new, and hopefully I'll learn something out of it." And he continued, "The reason why I've been working on 34 programs in my life is that I don't normally like continuing series. That's why It's a Sin came to an end and I just moved on. I just like looking at a new set of challenges every time and another blank page. But Doctor Who is always a blank page." Which is a pretty fair assessment about Doctor Who, with the show constantly changing and regenerating. But him being in a new territory with Doctor Who, I think, is the most interesting point, because what else is there to explore in Doctor Who?
100%. I'm 100% on board with his assessment of the show, because Doctor Who is constantly about change, with main character changing every like 3 or 4 years. And I'm glad Russell T Davies is one of those people who come to a new show and just think, okay, what could I do that's different about Doctor Who now that I've been gone for the last 12 years, which is insane to think about. Like, he must have been just lying in bed with ideas floating around his head for like the last decade. I can't imagine him not doing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm really, really looking forward to seeing what he's going to bring to the table. Hopefully more genocide. I think. Yeah, I think that's the direction the show needs to go in. Violent. Give the Doctor a gun. Sonic gun.
Sonic gun.
Yeah.
There's nothing really to say about this storyline other than I am excited to just see what he's got conjured up. Just hopefully it'll be good and not like the last 4 years, which we...
It's been a mixed bag. We rag on it a lot because the decisions that are bad are really, really bad. But there have been highlights.
Yeah,
None
there's
come
a
to
few.
mind.
That Cyberman Frankenstein episode was
Yeah.
probably one of the best
But it
highlights.
had bad moments in it, you know.
I didn't think it had bad moments in it.
Isn't
but
that the same episode where Jodie's like, I'm too awkward to talk to you right now?
No, that's
I'm
a different
almost
episode.
certain. Isn't that the one with the Cyberman in the haunted house?
You're thinking Cyberman episode didn't have that Jodie Whittaker moment. You're thinking that Jodie Whittaker moment was in Can You Hear Me? That episode that came like 2 episodes before that.
I don't know. I feel
Where-
like it was in the ghosty house.
The one where Graham goes to the doctor and talks about his cancer.
Yeah. I feel like that was
Yeah,
done
it's-
in the big old ghosty house with the ghost Cyberman.
No, it definitely wasn't. It was in the TARDIS at the end of the mental health episode.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Either way, too many bad moments. They outshine
Yeah.
the good moments, is the main point. You want to take the next one?
But yeah, we have speaking of Jodie Whittaker, which is we always seem to be speaking about Jodie's era at some point, and I kind of don't like saying Jodie's era because it's not her fault, but you know. So last month we heard rumors that Jodie may not be seen regenerating, and that there may be space between the 13th and the 14th Doctor. The director of the upcoming regeneration special, Magnus Stone, said, "I'm very fortunate in that I'm directing the last one of them, so I'm actually doing her regeneration. Basically, her last day was filming was the most of the crew's last day of filming as well, so it's really all orchestrated to have this big final last day, and we shot that last day for Jodie in story order, so we ended up on our last scene. And we shot the last ever scene in the TARDIS and said goodbye to the TARDIS. And then there were some tears, and we went out to film basically her regeneration. And the last shot that we did, I think, will be the last shot in the episode as well. So it's really nice to do things in sequence. Not much here other than just the detail that she'll be regenerating outside of the TARDIS, which was this big thing on Twitter I noticed. Everybody just being like, thank God not another TARDIS generation, because the 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th Doctor regenerated and just caused the TARDIS to fly out and just crash back into Earth.
It's
which is
an easy way to
insane.
get around redesigning the TARDIS, though. You know, because you destroy the TARDIS as you technically destroy the Doctor at the same time. It's like the complete ending of an era, so the TARDIS can rebuild itself with the new Doctor and the new face. But you know, just do what Matt Smith did, like halfway through his last season, and change the TARDIS for no reason.
Yeah, you can honestly just have a Doctor just be like, okay, I hated what the fuck was I thinking last year?
Yeah,
I hate this TARDIS. Let's just change it.
Yeah, because
Like-
the new TARDIS, or at least Jodie's TARDIS, is hideous. I do despise it with my entire being. It's my least
don't-
favorite TARDIS.
I really don't mind it. It kind of feels like the 11th Doctor TARDIS in color scheme.
No, the
but
11th Doctor TARDIS had character. This has giant crystals.
yeah, I really don't like those crystals that are kind of.
They make it feel so small.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the problem with it. It doesn't
I want
feel big.
like the movie TARDIS, where it's just like a massive living room. You know, there's a fireplace and it's a place to make your cup of tea and a record player. That's the best TARDIS there's ever been, hands down.
And another problem with the current TARDIS is with just like those pillars constantly block the camera, so you can't really see what's going on with the TARDIS. Like the first reveal of the TARDIS was just blocked, like 10% of the screen was just blocked. You couldn't see the TARDIS properly. It's insane.
Yeah, I want new Doctor. Give him the exact same TARDIS from the movie, because it's so good. And like the shots they came up with in the movie, if you're, you know, you just go nuts with it. There's so many funky camera angles you can do because that thing's so big.
Yeah.
Yeah. In other news, Matt Stevens, who's an executive producer in the Chibnall era of Doctor Who, has been talking a bunch, and there's a whole heap here. But first of all, he was talking about some criticisms against the Chibnall era, and he got some select quotes here. Opinion is fickle, so you take all that with a pinch of salt. Every era of Doctor Who has had its massive champions, and every era and every Doctor has had people going, it's not like it used to be. And then afterwards, a lot of the kind of contemporary commentary disappears. With a short distance of time, there is a huge affection looking back. I think when the story is written, Jodie's Doctor will be thought of, quite rightly, with huge affection and love, quite frankly. Which, I think her Doctor mostly is already, you know, her performance as the Doctor is met with that. The criticisms are more against everything else.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I can't imagine going back to this era and thinking, "Oh, this is so much better than I thought it was." Unless they really,
What was I thinking? The Doctor killing all those Daleks was a great idea.
Unless they really nail that ending episode for her, which I don't think they will do, but if they really nail it and put everything in retrospective and make it all worth it, that might make it worth it. But I don't imagine that happening. Like, I don't ever think I'll be going back into this era and thinking, "Oh, this is actually great."
The only time I'm going to be going back into this era is when I have to, when I rewatch the show. And I'm like, oh god, I'm in the Jodie era now. And you have to slog through it, you know?
But I think basically Matt Stevens is basically thinking of, if you imagine the 5th, 6th and 7th Doctor, they were all controversial eras because the quality wasn't great, the budget was really going downhill. Colin Baker...
Even if you want to look more modern, Matt Smith and Peter Capaldi.
Yeah, that too.
You know, this isn't David Tennant, I'm not watching. Oh, he's not Matt Smith, he's an old guy, I don't want to watch that. And now they're both loved, you know?
Yeah. But the thing with Colin Baker is you can still look back on it and think, God, these scripts are terrible, but Colin Baker is a great Doctor. And that's really what I focus on when I go back to the Colin Baker era. I think I'll be going back to the Jodie Whittaker era in the same way. But I already think that she's a great Doctor, but just not given enough good scripts in the first place.
I think she's a good Doctor, and she still just needs that one moment for me to believe that she is the Doctor.
Yeah.
You know? But maybe we'll get there. Maybe the Sea Devils will have just the best Doctor Who script she's ever had. You know?
I can't imagine that will be the case.
But yeah, neither can I, but I live in hope. Or, you know, her Regeneration episode could be great, but Regeneration episodes tend to be a bit mediocre. You know, but I love, I think, every Regeneration episode. I know you don't, but...
Yeah, I'm iffy on most of them, but speaking of, like, the Legends of the Sea Devils, there's some news stories going around that basically their release date is going to be Easter Sunday, which I think is April 17th. That makes sense. And also, apparently, Legends of the Sea Devil was supposed to be Jodie Whittaker's last episode, and it was written as Jodie's last episode. And I don't buy that. I buy that her actual last episode was her last episode, and they wrote this when they had to bump up for an extra episode. If you remember, they were supposed to only do 8 episodes for Flux, or whatever this production block is actually called, because it's not really Flux anymore, but you understand. But now they bumped it up to 9, like 6 episodes, 3 specials. So I imagine the one we'll get in October will be the planned last episode rather than Legends of the Sea Devil, because I don't imagine Jodie Whittaker ending on, oh, here's the Sea Devils and some pirates, and yeah, I don't imagine that being the final episode ever.
Imagine, I could buy that. I could buy that as Chibnall's, whatever, this is the end of it. And then he's like, oh, I've got one more episode. Okay, I've got another idea.
You actually make a good point with that, because the Series 11 final, the Battle of...
Yeah.
Whatever the fuck that was called.
Max.
Yeah. That didn't feel like a series final, even though it brought back a villain from the very first episode. Like...
Yeah.
I watched that recently, like, just in October, and I do not remember what the fuck happened in that. There was a lot of walking and talking, that's all I remember.
Yeah, no, I don't remember what happened in that episode either. Next up, he was chatting a bit about the viewing figures for Doctor Who, which, as we've spoken before, they're actually pretty good. But let's see what he had to say about them. What's fascinating to me is the way Doctor Who viewing figures are obsessed over, unlike many other TV shows on the television, and that's fine, because I think it's a testament to the fact that people are still keen to read about Doctor Who, so that's probably a positive thing. Of course, you get the odd judgment, like Vigil? I don't know what that is. But by and large, 5 odd million is really healthy for any drama on terrestrial, and on streaming services, they can only dream of figures like that, so I think our ratings are really respectable, which is something we've been saying since we started the podcast. TV is such a different world than it was in 2005. For me, what's sometimes frustrating is too strong. What's sometimes frustrating is too strong a word, But when overnight figures are reported and compared to previous consolidated figures in order to make the most dramatic headline, that's a bit disingenuous, especially when you look at the way television is consumed today. Doctor Who is available on iPlayer, so audiences can still watch it whenever and wherever they choose. He continued, when you're making a program, you make the best show you can make, and you follow your instincts. You make the show that you want to watch, but you want to reach the widest audience possible, and you're always wanting to make sure you can engage with all demographics, especially the younger demographic who don't watch television in the way we watch it. That's a challenge for all TV, and we're conscious of it. But I don't know if you bring that into the writer's room or the conversations about the sort of stories you want to tell, because that's self-defeating. Which, yeah, that's just echoing everything that we've been saying for months at this point. People don't watch TV.
Yeah.
They watch streaming services whenever and whatever they want, you know?
Yeah. Like, even streaming services don't really have that much viewership, because I think there was a recent poll that came out that really only says that, like, Loki, for example, the series premiere, only got, like, 3.7 million viewers or something like that.
And Disney considered it a failure.
I think, yeah.
They considered it to be a pretty big flop compared to what they were expecting. And it's like, whew, you got to lower your expectations there, Disney.
Yeah. Point is, nothing is going to get the same viewership as it did like 10 years ago, or even when David Tennant was the Doctor. It's never going to happen. Like, of course, you get these shows like Vigil and Line of Duty, which get like 10 million viewers, but those are like rare, once in a lifetime scenarios, kind of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and also Doctor Who's been on for coming up to 60 years. The fact it has maintained 4 million people is insane.
It's constantly in like the top 20 BBC, well, top 10 BBC programs. There's no reason why the BBC would ever get rid of it. It's their most successful program worldwide. Like, programs like Line of Duty and Peaky Blinders are popular worldwide, but not as popular as Doctor Who. They don't have the longevity of Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Also, Doctor Who is like one of the really only mainstream science fiction British television shows. I can't really think of any other at the moment. There's really not that much of them, is there?
British there's Red Dwarf. That's pretty mainstream. That's still going, you know?
Like, it comes and goes like every 5 years.
But it's still going.
And it's not on the same level as Doctor Who.
No, not at all. But it's the only other British sci-fi show that I can think of that's still on TV.
And also, the other day we were speaking just about Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, and we were speaking about how Better Call Saul doesn't have that many viewers compared to Breaking Bad. And like, Breaking Bad didn't have any viewers like in the first 4 years of its run. Like, it only reached like 1 million viewers every week, whereas like season 5 ended with like 10 million viewers. And that's because of Netflix bringing a lot of fans into the show. And like, AMC's premise is that they don't care about ratings as long as they deliver like consistently good television. And I think that's kind of what the BBC do with Doctor Who. As long as it gets some viewers and gets people talking, it's in their top 10, they'll accept it, and that's how television should work, really.
Yeah, it also, Doctor Who has the advantage that a lot of shows don't, in that it's part of British culture. You know, you see a police box, you call it a TARDIS, you see a Dalek, and like everyone in the UK knows it's a Dalek because it's been burned into the back of their eyes when they're born, you know?
Like you see a gas mask and you think, oh, it's Doctor Who. Like, that's how far Doctor Who has integrated itself. Yeah, it's insane how Doctor Who just overcome everything. Like a statue as well. Just everything is Doctor Who these days. Like, TARDIS is the most recognizable iconography ever. Basically, it's just a box. Mm-hmm. It's a thing that existed before the show, which is insane.
Look, all I'm saying is Daleks were in the Lego Batman movie, so Doctor Who is totally fine.
And also, speaking of Lego, do you want to move on to our next story?
Yeah, look at that transition.
A new rumour claims that a Lego Doctor Who game is in development from TT Games. The rumour landed on Reddit, so take it with a grain of salt.
Take it with a spoon of salt.
With a post claiming that the game will explore every version of the Doctor seen thus far, but star an entirely new Doctor Who Doctor Who hasn't been announced yet.
Doctor Who hasn't been announced yet? What?
Other details rumoured include levels that will showcase other planets and locales from Victorian England, as well as pulling directly from episodes of the show. Part of the rumour is that the game will be released in 2023 in celebration of the show's 60th anniversary.
I would love this to be true. I mean,
Yes,
just
so
look,
would I.
just look at the new Lego Star Wars game that's coming out. It looks phenomenal, you know, and like that looks absolutely amazing. And if they give that sort of treatment to Doctor Who, whoo.
Yeah, they could easily build like a 30, 40 level game that explores like every Doctor, like take 2 or 3 stories from each Doctor and just be like, explore it every incarnation with tongue-in-cheek humor that makes fun of a show but in a loving way. It's perfect.
It would be so good. My only thing that makes me question it is Doctor Who, and I know we were just talking about it being a huge IP. Is it a big enough IP for a Lego game? Because Lego game is like Batman, it's Marvel, it's Star Wars, you know? Like, you don't see Lego Star Trek.
They did that Lego Dimensions game that was released a few years ago. And then they took iconography like Back to the Future, Simpsons, Sonic the Hedgehog, Lord of the Rings, Scooby-Doo, and also Doctor Who, which Peter Capaldi voices the Doctor in that game. So I buy this completely, but I don't buy it because it's Reddit.
From Reddit, and I've not seen it anywhere else. I've not seen it picked up in any news or anything like that. So, you know, that's one we'll keep a hesitant eye on.
Yeah. The only reason
it's true.
The only reason I wanted to talk about it is because it's a great idea and I would absolutely love it. Because the last Doctor Who game that came out, The Edge of Reality, was just
terrible.
I
think I've played it for 15 minutes. I've not launched it since. And we were saying like we were going to do a video for the channel, which, you know, I'm sure we will do at some point. But I don't have the willpower to open that game.
I think I played it for like 2 hours and encountered like 20 glitches and just terrible design, and it's awful.
It's an ugly game for sure.
I 100% trust Lego to create a good Doctor Who game for once, which is something that's never really been done with Doctor Who. Unless I'm mistaken.
A good Doctor Who game. Doctor Who Top Trumps on the Wii. I played that game a lot as a kid. I also played Doctor Who Top Trumps, the physical card game. Or the Doctor Who trading card game. That was a pretty fun game. It was I'm pretty sure, just Top Trumps.
How much did Doctor Who Top Trumps go for in like the market back in those days? Was it like a full-priced £30 game? Because that would be insane.
No, I assume Top Trumps is like a tenner per pack. Per deck.
I mean the video game.
Oh, the video game. I have no idea. I was a child, so I wouldn't have cared. I feel like the video game is just most.
I feel like the video game is just pictures of cards and you just slide through them.
From what I remember, that's basically the gist of it. But I liked the whole. I played Doctor Who music, and you know, it's probably crap, but I loved it as a kid.
We should play Doctor Who Top Trumps on the show sometime.
But shall we move into our big finish releases?
Hell yes.
I think we might hit just 45 minutes this episode. It's going to be a short one this month. It's a quiet month. Oh wait, I was saying before that I was going to make the thumbnail a desert, but no, I'll just make it Rose because the title's going to be Rose is back. Yeah. There we go. Or Billie Piper's back. You know, sort of.
Rose's face on a rose. Just an idea.
Let me do the thumbnail. Do you want to take the first big finish one?
Yes, our first Doctor Who big finish story for March is the 8th of March. I wonder when that's coming out. So this is an International Women's Day release. Women, they ruined Doctor Who, apparently.
Yeah, they're the reason I commit horrendous violent crime. I'm just going to flow past that and just pretend you're being 100% serious. Yeah, I am.
So this box set is Scattered through time and space, many women have crossed paths with the Doctor. I would say mostly women have crossed paths with the Doctor, like not many men in there. Some were fellow TARDIS travellers, some were allies defending the Earth, and one was the Doctor's doctor. And yeah, this is a box set where there's 3 different stories. One of them star Romana and K9 have stayed in E-Space to help an ancient and noble people freed from their shackles, but first they must heal divisions in the ranks and those who see a very different future for feral race. The second one is about Lady Christina from the Easter special, the last Easter special, not the upcoming Easter special, because there's 2 Easter specials now.
And she's got a couple Big Finish spin-offs on her own as well.
Yeah, and Lady Christina de Souza is crashing an exclusive party in search of a priceless diamond out in deep space. Time travelers Jenny and Noah. Don't know who the hell Noah is.
I assume it's Jenny's companion from the other Big Finish specials. If you look at the Jenny, Doctor's daughter, she's got this guy with him. I assume that guy's Noah.
Okay, there's 2 covers, and it's the same photoshopped face on top of the body. It's really not great. Yep. Oh well. Jenny and Noah collide with a strange diamond-shaped vessel. What is Prism, and what does it want with the Earth? And the third story, which is what I'm mostly interested in, it sounds great, is The Turn of the Tides. In the footsteps of Sarah Jane Smith, Rani is investigating strange weather phenomena, calling an old friend in for help, Joe Jones. But UNIT is also on the case, led by Science Officer Jack. Soon all 3 women will be on a mission to the moon. So yeah, the last story is what I'm interested in because it's the first edition of Sarah Jane Adventures into the Big Finish universe, which is straight after Sarah Jane Adventures, which we haven't heard of this character since 2011, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
And Joe Grant being in there as well from the 3rd Doctor era. It's gonna be great.
And we're just about to start an adventure with Joe Grant in our podcast next week as we start the Sea Devils. So yeah, good stuff. After that, we've got a just delicious looking cover. Oh my god. Whoa. 11A, Doctor Who, the 4th Doctor Adventures Series 11, Solo. Not a catchy title. It's not a catchy title at all, I'll give him that.
Where's Han Solo, though?
Yeah, I know. Blood of the Time Lord. It looks like it's a 2-part story in this box set, 11.1 and 11.2.
I think they're separate stories.
20 quid for 2 stories.
Yeah, it's pretty decent, to be honest.
The first story is Blood of the Time Lords by Timothy X. Attack, who we've seen before. He's written quite a few Big Finish specials. I think he wrote Eccleston story, didn't he? Or maybe he didn't.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he did.
I can't remember which one at the moment, but yeah, he did.
The book, known as the Discord Grimoire, is an incredibly powerful tome, believed capable of altering the true passage of time itself, and the Doctor has it in its TARDIS. And in the TARDIS, not its TARDIS, although I guess it's an appropriate pronoun for the Doctor. Wanting to look into the mysterious opus further, he decides to take it to an old friend, the Recursory, a monastery-like retreat on a moon of Gallifrey. But he's chosen an inconspicuous time to arrive. Something else is visiting Recursory, and this something hasn't brought a book with it. But death! The Doctor has a book and he wants to read it in a library. What more could you want from an audio drama?
Yeah, there's also a second story which
The Ravencliff Witch by David Lewin. I'm going to say that's how you pronounce that. It looks Welsh.
Llewellyn, I think.
Maybe. The TARDIS lands in Ravencliff, a small town on the English coast that stands in the shade of a newly built power station and just so happens to be haunted. Hate it when that happens. Every now and then, a spectral figure is glimpsed on the beach, the Ravencliff Witch, and every time she appears, it's the prelude to disaster. The Doctor has to solve the mystery of her appearance, and he wants to prevent a catastrophe, but he won't have to do it alone, as he has the help from Margaret Hopwood, a renowned sculptor destined to play a big part in his life. I've never heard of her. Can't be that big.
So yeah, this is the the Fourth
Tom
Doctor in
Baker.
his 11th series for Big Finish, which is insane to think about because he's only had 7 series in the actual show.
Yeah, that's mental.
I'm not too interested in what's going on in this box set, but the one interesting thing is it has James Dreyfus as the Master, which is unfortunate because a couple of years ago he kind of got banned from Big Finish for saying very transphobic things.
Oh.
But the reason why he's in this box set is because if you look at the backstage section of the website, this was recorded in 2017, 5 years ago.
Yeah, you got to remember with Tom Baker, they have like his audio recordings done for the next 15,000 years.
Yeah. 5 years ago. It's insane just to think about.
Yeah. But this cover is absolutely just incredible. I've pulled it up on screen for the recording right now because it is. This cover's like I would have that as a poster. The color in it is just spectacular. Look at that.
Oh yeah, it goes back to that whole Star Wars, the Force Awakens color scheme of just red and blue, which seems to be the big craze at the moment because Aladdin did that.
It's one of my favorite memes. It's like the most confusing trilogy of all time: Aladdin, Star Wars, and like another one. I think it was like Jumanji or something. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it doesn't grab me, but I like the Fourth Doctor, so I would say I probably will check it out sometime, but I probably won't because there's too many Fourth Doctor stories at the moment, which is insane.
Which is about to play into. There's 2 other Fourth Doctor stories coming out this month.
No, these 2 are actually from that
they're
box
the same
set.
ones. Yeah.
It's just being sold separately from $12.99, which is just get the 2 in 1.
Gosh darn Big Finish with their silly listicles confusing me.
Yeah, just get the 2 in 1. It makes more sense because even if you half like the second story, you're
saving money. You're saving money. Yeah.
But yeah. Is this our 3rd box set?
Yeah.
I think it is our 3rd. This is Unit Nemesis 2, Agent of the Volprene. Whatever the fuck that is.
Well, it's I don't know. It's a Volprene. Never heard of them.
So this is a 4-episode box set. I won't read them all, so if you want to read them, just go to the Big Finish website and you can read the episodes yourself. But this is the 2nd season in this storyline, I guess, or the 2nd box set of the storyline. I don't know. Unit has stopped the 11's effort to retrieve the Ark, but questions remain. How did an artifact embedded with advanced technology become buried under prehistoric lava flow? Why does it form a connection with an alien world? And just who are the Volprene? I'm asking that myself. The alien race that live there. These questions are about to be answered, thank God. But I probably won't read this, listen to this, because this is like the 18th box set of the Unit saga.
I wonder if they're ever going to address the Snake Man taking over Unit in Big Finish.
They 100% won't, because that whole storyline was ridiculous.
I feel like they will. I feel like it's right up there. Like in like 3-4 years' time, Snake Man's going to have his own spin-off box set.
So one thing about this box set is a character of Bombara, which is the Brigadier that replaced the actual Brigadier. So she played the Brigadier in Battlefield, which is a 7th Doctor story. And I kind of mentioned her in the Zygon 2-parter we just did a couple of weeks ago. She was supposed to be in that last week, but she got replaced last minute. So this is her coming back to the franchise after a couple of years.
You see, we recorded it a couple of weeks ago, Scott. Yeah. But ha ha ha, for everybody else, it was last week.
But yeah, I'd probably be on board with this if I didn't have to fucking listen to like 18 other box sets.
I don't care about it at all. I'm glad it exists. I'm glad people got paid to make it.
Again, I questioned this the last time we encountered a Unit box set. There's also a young Harry Sullivan on the cover, which doesn't make sense because Harry Sullivan is from the 80s and he looks exactly like he did in the 80s. Time travel, maybe? Who the fuck knows?
You're going to have to go and listen to find out. That's it. You have to listen to find out now.
And this is our last story, I believe?
No, there's a Torchwood one after.
Okay, this one is interesting, though.
Yeah, so the next one is a Colin Baker story, and it is a groovy looking picture. I recognize the bald lady.
And who is it written by?
Who is it? By Russell T. Davis. And also Scott Hancock, who we love just as much as Russell T Davies. But this is an audio drama written by Russell T Davies. We have to get this one. In the depths of space, the mysterious Hodiak is manipulating the Galactic Stock Exchange to raise money. I'm in. His aim, to hire mercenaries for a deadly quest across the stars. Meanwhile, on Earth, an ordinary British family is plagued by a series of psychic events. The one thing connecting these events is a magnificent patchwork coat, which just so happens to belong to the Doctor. I'm sold. That sounds mental.
Yeah. So this is basically Russell T Davies's fan script he wrote in the 80s and just kept on a shelf, and this is it coming to fruition. It was announced before he actually officially joined on to being the new showrunner again, which is going to be interesting listening to his fan fiction. And also, one of the actors in this is Annette Badland, who played Margaret Levine, which would be nice to hear her again.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're 100% getting this.
I love how happy Colin Baker looks in these backstage photos. He's just a happy old man.
He really is. He seems lovely.
Yeah, I'm super into this one. This one seems really cool. And the poster's very nice as well. And it's only £13. Oh my god.
And you recognise the woman on the left because she was in the episode Hellbent. If you remember, the Doctor shot a man, and then
and then he regenerated into the Black Lady. Yeah.
That's her.
And
she's also been in Years and Years, which is also a Russell T Davies series. So yeah, she apparently is good friends with Russell T Davies.
Interesting.
She's also been in Banana and Cucumber, which is also Russell T Davies. So yeah, collaborator.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one.
Nice and cheap as well, which is great. Thank God.
Yeah. And our last one.
31 listeners recommend that Russell T Davies story, even though it hasn't come out yet.
You can tell that one's going to sell well. You know that one's going to sell well. Whereas 6 people recommended the unit one. So there's the difference in interest. But we've got one more left of Big Finish.
Yep. Yeah.
Do you know when to take it? I did the last one.
Oh yeah, you did. It's late. I'm tired. This is Torchwood, the Black Knight. The description is: a brilliant scientist detects an asteroid destroying any craft entering the Earth's orbit. Is it protecting the human race or imprisoning it? An asteroid? Is it protecting the human... What? I'm confused about that, but okay.
You'll have to listen to it to understand.
Only one person believes her. That person is from Torchwood. Norton Folgate is taking Lynn Sharman on the journey of her life. Yeah, okay.
So a scientist finds an asteroid. They're like, is that an asteroid or is it a prison? And then someone in Torchwood's like, I believe you. Here's the spaceship.
This sounds like a script that was written that didn't connect to Torchwood, but then we're like, oh, this could be a good Torchwood episode. We just scribbled over the name of an organization, and we're just like, this is a Torchwood man now.
It says it's a full cast audio drama, but if you look at the cast, it only stars Samuel Barnett.
It's really confusing. What the hell?
Is he just doing the voice of every character?
Yeah. This is something I'm not interested in.
No, not really interested in it at all. But it seems like it would be weird. So
I'm
maybe
sure it'll be fine.
Maybe
I'm sure it's
good.
fine, but yeah.
5 people recommend it, so
even though it's not been out yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's got a fan base. And it's probably going to be excellent. But
yeah, from what I understand, the Torchwood library is just really weird at the moment because it's only one character every time we come back, and it's like sometimes you don't even know the character. Who the hell is Samuel Barnett? Yeah. He's been in other Torchwood storylines. I guess we would listen to that.
He's a recurring audio drama character. Yeah.
But God knows, really.
Yeah. I think I could make a guess as to which one out of this list we're interested in getting.
Yeah, Mind of the Hodiak, 100%.
Yeah, like not even close. It's not even close. That's the one I'm interested in. It sounds awesome.
I'm also probably going to get the 8th of March just because I'm a Sarah Jane Adventures fan and I want to listen to Rani doing stuff with Joe Grant. That sounds fun.
Yeah.
I don't care for the other 2 stories in that box set though, so it's probably like a yeah.
Well, listen to them and maybe you'll be pleasantly surprised.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, a bit of a not much this month it feels like.
It has
Even
been
though it's 5 titles, but it still feels like very little, which is strange.
Yeah, but, it's been a quiet month in the news. Big Finish deserved to have a quiet month in releases.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, we're at 55 minutes, which is weird.
Surprising.
How?
I mean, some of it will be cut down, so it'll be like 50 or 45 or something. But that brings us, I think, to the end of the news segment?
There's also something else. There's a random audiobook I found by Penguin. Let's just get that up right now. I just moved it by mistake. Oops. I don't know what to do. Penguin. So this book is featuring Ben and Polly from the first Doctor era of the show. It's called Doctor Who Sleeper Agents. And it's read by Annette Willis, who is Polly. And it's July 1966, and Ben and Polly has just said goodbye to the Doctor at Gatwick Airport. Now they must return to their old lives, but things at home aren't quite right. Polly's cat is behaving oddly, and both she and Ben soon realise are under close scrutiny. To complicate matters further, the pair must acknowledge their true feelings for each other. When they find themselves transported against their will to a far-flung destination, what matters most is their loyalty to each other and to the Doctor. Who are the mysterious Mr. Harmer and Miss Lehman, and what can we possibly want for Polly and Ben? Any interest in this? Because I'm...
I don't even know who these companions are. I've never met them yet, so this doesn't interest. The cover's weird. I'll give them that. The cover's like it's got a cat and a mountain and a man with a hat.
So the thing about this is Penguin have been kind of doing these weird-ass audiobooks with companions after the show. They've done one with Ian and Barbara called London 1965. And they've got one called Bessie Come Home, which is like the background to the Third Doctor's car. It's about the life and times of the Third Doctor's car, which is really weird and bizarre, but yeah. These exist.
Yeah. Weird. I'm glad it exists, at least, but I'm not ever going to listen to it.
Again, Doctor Who is just one of these things that you think you know everything, and you find these weird things like a book with a dog holding a gun, like you just bought for today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that's us for this month.
What an interesting month in Doctor Who it's been.
We know nothing new. We really don't.
No, there's still rumours. Every actor that's in Britain is currently cast as the next Doctor, so it's going to be a cramped special when Jodie regenerates. But after this, we move into the chatting segment of the news.
Yeah. What have you been watching recently?
5 minutes. I've been watching... I finished Arcane, League of Legends Arcane, and it was pretty good. It was a dark show, but I liked it. I put it off for ages because it was League of Legends related, and I couldn't care less about League of Legends, but finally finished it, and it was very enjoyable. I've almost finished watching It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia for the 18,000 millionth time, and to get to the answer that you wanted me to say, I've been watching Better Call Saul.
Hell yes, and I got you onto that show again, because you were like, I don't know if I want to rewatch Breaking Bad or jump onto Better Call Saul, and I was like, better watch Better Call Saul, because that final season is coming out soon, baby. And from the sounds of it, you've been enjoying it.
Well, yeah, it's a 40-minute to an hour-long episode, which usually I really struggle to watch. Usually I get bored and turn it off halfway through, or I'll just watch a 20-minute show and put off watching a 40-minute show. But I'm on season 2 already. I'm very, very much enjoying it. Although annoyingly, it's taking over me watching Star Trek. and I was very much enjoying watching Star Trek, so I need to put that back into my life. Because I finished Next Generation a couple months ago, and that took me like 4 years to do because it's so many episodes. But I've been watching Deep Space Nine, and it's excellent show.
So I've been rewatching Better Call Saul myself. I'm like halfway through season 2, which is
I'm almost caught up.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a brilliant show, isn't it? Just absolutely perfect.
It's very well written and performed and shot.
Yeah, it's one of those shows where everything from the set department, from the cast and crew, just like everything is just so perfectly done.
The only thing I don't like is how every episode ends.
Yeah,
because they just suddenly end like halfway through a scene. It's like, oh yeah, we're done. I'm like, no, and then I have to watch the next episode. It's done on purpose because it's a Netflix show, and they it's like, although it releases weekly when it comes on Netflix.
Yeah, it's because it's an AMC show and it's just distributed by Netflix. Netflix don't really have anything to do with it other than they get to put in their giant name at the start and say, a Netflix original series, even if it's not an original series, which is really bizarre.
Well, it's, it's like when they bought the rights to Arrested Development, which is one of the first Netflix originals way back. And they went in and like digitally altered some stuff to say it's a Netflix original, and
it's a really bizarre claim to make. But you just say it's a Netflix exclusive. That's an easier way. That's a more accurate way, I think. But I'm being nitpicky with words. But yeah, it's a brilliant show, and everything is just great in that show.
Yeah, I highly recommend it. It is very good. But what about yourself? Besides Better Call Saul, what have you been watching?
The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Have you ever heard of that show?
I've heard of it.
It's about a woman in the 50s who becomes a stand-up comedian. That show just came back, and I think this season is kind of off to a bad start because it's really bizarre, because one of the scenes in the new episode kind of has Susie, who is Mrs. Maisel's manager, and she's at a bar, and then all of a sudden a magician walks up to her and does magic, like a actual wizardly stuff. Like all of a sudden she's in the forest. It makes no sense, and the show is kind of feeling like a cartoon at the moment.
Nice. I love it when a show jumps the shark.
Yeah. I've still got my hopes up, but yeah, this opening 2 episodes, or releasing 2 episodes every week, this opening 2 episodes isn't great, but I'm still watching it because season 5 is going to be the last one, so there's only like 14 more episodes, so I might as well finish it.
Just so many episodes. That's so many episodes. In non-TV related news, when this episode comes out, I'll be sitting on the bus heading into work, very annoyed that I have to go into work because Elden Ring releases at midnight tonight, which is, we're recording this on the Thursday. It releases midnight, so Friday morning it's playable, and I can't touch it until I get home from work. And oh my god, I want to play that game so much. It's installing right now.
Mathew, it's kind of weird because the moment you mentioned this game to me, I hadn't heard it before, and all of a sudden I keep hearing about it. It's like, what the hell? Where did this come from? I don't know anything. Is it connected to those Dark Souls games?
Yeah, it's made by the same people. Yeah.
Okay.
It's the next in the series. So they did Dark Souls, then they did Bloodborne, then they did Sekiro, and now it's this one, Elden Ring. And the world's written by George R.R. Martin, because he'll do anything except write his book.
Yeah, he just signed on to do a Marvel comic as well, didn't he? Just like last week. Like, fucking finish your book, man, before you have a heart attack.
Yeah, but what's great is once he finishes that book, he still has a whole other Game of Thrones book to do before he's done.
Jeez, I swear to God, that new prequel series is going to be done and dusted, like 6 seasons. It's going to be finished by the time he writes that fucking book.
Yeah.
Wait, so is this franchise worth playing? Can I jump into it at any point?
You'd hate it. If you would hate it. It is hard. They are hard games.
I keep hearing it's hard. Guardians of the Galaxy, which is a game I just finished playing, it took me 4 months to complete. Not because it's hard, because I'm very slow at playing video games.
Yeah, I feel like I'd say go for it and try it. I'd recommend Dark Souls 3 because I think that has the easiest learning curve out of all of the Dark Souls games, or the Soulsborne games as they're called. because Dark Souls 3, it's like a slightly easier learning curve, then it becomes insanely hard. Whereas you go into Dark Souls 1 or Dark Souls 2, and it's almost like you can't break through it if you don't know how the games work and what you're expected from, because they're just a bit old and they're a bit hard. Bloodborne I've never played because it's a PlayStation exclusive, but it's supposed to be amazing. It's very fast-paced and action-heavy, where Dark Souls is more block and dodge, and Sekiro is like stealth and really hard boss fights.
So are these games actually connected? Like we tell?
No.
No, we're not.
I couldn't tell you the story of Dark Souls. Like the way that the games present themselves, it just kind of drops you in the world.
Yeah.
And you've got like all this stuff going on, and you're just like, go and kill. And you can go and read and learn about the lore if you want to. It's all there. But if you're not interested in that, which I'm not, you don't need to know a thing about it.
So wait, so this is an incredibly newbie question. I don't know anything. I'm not much of a gamer. I don't know anything about games. So is this like an actual storyline, or is it just you're jumped into the world and you just kill people?
So like Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3, I assume are somewhat vaguely connected.
Okay.
I couldn't tell you the story about them, but the whole premise is you're kind of like undead in like a world of demons or something like that. So that's why when you die, you come back alive, and you have to reset and go and fight again. But there's like a billion YouTube videos that will explain it. Bloodborne is set in like a Victorian era, with also you're fighting off like demon dudes, and you've got like guns and a big blade, and it's kind of cool. Whereas Sekiro's set in like feudal Japan, and you're a guy with a sword, and that's got probably more story heavy than the other ones. That's got like full cutscenes with subtitles and stuff like that. But I don't know too much about Sekiro. And then this new one, I have no idea, because I've been trying to avoid as much spoilers as possible. All I know is the world is massive and the game is like ungodly huge. So
yeah, Jesus.
I look forward to sinking the next like 300 hours into it.
I look forward to never probably playing it. I say probably because I might play it at some point, but I got Skyrim like 8 years ago. I played it for 10 minutes, forgot about it, and never picked it up again.
I hate you. We're not friends. I've played Skyrim so many times. Like, thousands of hours in Skyrim. Across multiple platforms, across like a decade. Like,
maybe I'll buy it on a Switch at some point, but I've got like 20 video games I've bought but never played once. That's my problem. I buy games and I just forget about them. Yeah. I don't play them.
It's hard to find the time, especially when there's like everything wants your attention.
Like Doctor Who alone is just like, there's this big finished storyline I need to watch. I want to watch a classic series. I want to watch Sarah Jane Adventures. There's 1,000 hours of Doctor Who content, but it's just Doctor Who. There's TV shows and movies and comic books, and everything is just too much these days, and everything is just like a big franchise as well. It's never ending. Yeah,
you really just kind of have to choose one or two things you want to care about and just not focus on anything else. Otherwise, you're just spending money left, right, and center.
But I think that's pretty much my month. It's been a short month because it's February. So
yeah, it has. I can't believe it's March already. It's come Tuesday. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Mental. Also, we're at war. We're not at war, but war were declared. That's fun.
Oh yeah, that's been a fun time since last week.
Yeah, well, last night the attack happened.
Last week we were just talking about
the possibility
heavily about war.
Yeah, and then it were declared.
God,
time will tell.
We're not here to talk about that, and we're almost done anyway, so...
Yeah, I just thought I'd bring it up right at the end as like a fun reminder for everybody listening. They're like, oh, I'll escape the news and listen to the Doctor Who podcast. No, you won't. Welcome back to reality. But I think somehow we've pulled an hour out of our ass with that.
Out of a nothing month, nothing was revealed. Like the actual show itself, in regards to like series... these specials and beyond, there's nothing like this. The BBC don't want to reveal any information about these specials because we don't like to market the Chibnall era for whatever reason. And of course, Russell T Davies can't say anything definitive about his era yet because this era hasn't finished yet. So it's just like a game of chicken to hear about which era we'll hear about first, which is kind of sad.
Yeah, really, really sad. Sorry, there's just some breaking news in the wrestling world that's taken me by surprise, which is why I was staring at my phone there.
I thought you were going to say some breaking news about Russia, and I was like, oh god, don't.
No. Apparently, wrestler Cesaro has just left the WWE and is a free agent and can sign with the AEW immediately. And I'm like, what? How did that happen?
Yeah, I'm as shocked as you if I knew who that person was.
That's mental.
But yeah, should we wrap this up?
Yeah, anyway, I'm going to go and listen to a bunch of wrestling news of people being like, whoa, this is crazy. Because that is crazy news. Crazy news. What a wild world we live in. Anyway, we'll see you next week as we start our deep dive into the Sea Devils.
So, like, all of March, we're covering the Sea Devils for the first 3 weeks. And then at the 4th week, we're just going to be doing this news again, which is what we've got here. If you want to... Sometimes we'll answer questions in these news segments. If you want to send us an email at whowatcheswho@gmail.com, write anything related to the news, anything related to what we're covering next month, which is the Sea Devils, send us a bloody email because we'd love to read them out on next month's news segment. I said my part too early, but oh well. Usually I save it last.
Yeah, that's usually like right at the end. I was just saying what we were doing, and then I've got to go on this whole spiel about social media. So Sea Devils, look forward to that. It's really, really good. But in the meantime, you can find us on YouTube at Who Watches Who, on Facebook at Who Watches Who, on Twitter at Watches Doctor, and this podcast is available in audio form wherever you listen to your podcasts, and in video form on the aforementioned YouTube channel. And thank you very much for listening. We will be back next week with the Sea Devils, as I've said about 8,000 times already. I'm very tired now. But until then, we will see you. Bye.
Bye.
That's what a cataclysmic ending that was. Terrible ending.
Absolutely.